Welcome to Relocation Service Coordination, RSC, Learning the Basics, a case management policy training brought to you by the Disability Services Division of the Minnesota Department of Human Services. Today's video will cover a high-level overview of Relocation Service Coordination. Our agenda for today's training includes our learning objectives, what is Relocation Service Coordination, how would a person obtain Relocation Service Coordination, what is the role of a Relocation Service Coordination Case Manager, and how can others support relocation? Lastly, we have resources to assist you in your work. After this session, learners will be able to summarize Relocation Service Coordination and how this program can assist people in institutions with returning to the community. Define the process of connecting a person with Relocation Service Coordination services. Recognize the role of Relocation Service Coordination Case Managers, apply best practices when working with Relocation Service Coordination Case Managers, and describe how to ensure a successful transition for the person receiving Relocation Service Coordination. Our first section will cover what is Relocation Service Coordination, or RSC. Relocation Service Coordination is a type of medical assistance reimbursed case management. It is designed to help people who want to move out of certain institutions to move back into the community. Relocation Service Coordination helps people plan and arrange for the services and supports that they may need to live in the community. The person must be receiving inpatient care in an eligible institution in order to access RSC. Medical assistance eligible institutions are defined in statute as hospitals, nursing facilities, or NF, including certified boarding care facilities, intermediate care facilities for persons with developmental disabilities, or ICFDDs, and regional treatment centers, providing inpatient services to persons currently receiving medical assistance. Relocation Service Coordination Case Management helps to coordinate activities designed to help a person who resides in an eligible institution to gain access to medical services, social services, educational services, financial services, and housing services. In order to receive Relocation Service Coordination, RSC, a person must choose to receive RSC and choose to live in the community. The person has to be eligible for and receiving medical assistance, and must reside in an eligible institution during the time of service. A person's home and community-based services waiver must also be closed while they reside in an institution. The following people cannot use Relocation Service Coordination, RSC: persons living in the community or an ineligible institution, persons receiving another type of targeted case management, including mental health targeted case management, vulnerable adults with developmental disabilities targeted case management, or behavioral health home services, to avoid duplication of targeted case management services. We'll speak to this in greater detail a bit later in this training. A person receiving home and community-based services HCBS waivers also cannot use RSC. The person's HCBS waiver programs should always be suspended while in an institution. In order to access RSC services, a person's HCBS waiver program must be closed and exited during the duration of accessing RSC. Relocation Service Coordination, RSC, is limited to 180 consecutive days. This 180 consecutive day limit is per admission, meaning that a person may receive 180 days of RSC for each admission to an eligible institution after a stay in the community. The stay in the community is defined as at least one full day in the community between discharge and the next eligible admission, as updated by the person's financial worker. In addition to RSC, the use of any one of the following case management types will begin the 180-day eligibility period and will exhaust the benefit after 180 days. Mental health targeted case management and vulnerable adults with developmental disabilities targeted case management. The institution and person's supports should work together to update the county or tribal financial worker to ensure proper eligibility for new RSC access. Later in this video, we will share best practices when the individual receives other targeted case management services. The services provided by Relocation Service Coordination include, but are not limited to, develop a budget, Review services that could support the person in the community researching housing options. Develop and update a relocation plan based on the person's needs and preferences. Monitoring the implementation of the relocation plan. Routine communication with the individual, their team, and service providers. Referrals and assisting the person with accessing services. Collaboration with the discharge planner and other team members. In addition, RSC case managers must also complete administrative functions such as the completion and maintenance of required documentation. Services not provided by Relocation Service Coordination include, but are not limited to, eligibility determinations and redeterminations for medical assistance or a medical assistance funded benefit. Individuals must be medical assistance eligible in order to receive RSC services. Direct services like treatment, therapy, or rehabilitative services. Transition assistance when a person moves from one institution to another, unless it's part of the overall relocation plan. Services without proper documentation in the member's relocation plan. Services covered by another funding source, such as Moving Home Minnesota. As with all case management services, administrative functions, delivery of service prior to authorization, appeals or conciliation activities, outreach services, and marketing activities are not billable services. There are great benefits to using Relocation Service Coordination, RSC. RSC covers up to 40 hours a week to support planning for community discharge. RSC case managers support the person and their chosen caregivers in developing a plan for long-term stability. RSC case managers are knowledgeable in person-centered planning and offer a customized plan including housing, expungement, transportation, and community resources. In addition, RSC case managers have knowledge of geographical areas, including housing resources and tools that can support a person's plan for stability after discharge. RSC case managers can coordinate collaboration and handoffs with other targeted case management services as well as managed care organizations. RSC has simple and clear eligibility requirements to access services. The next section of our training explores how a person would obtain Relocation Service Coordination. Prior to admission or upon admission to an institution, the person can obtain RSC by receiving information at the time of the county or tribal nation screening that must occur within 80 days of admission, or the person or someone acting on their behalf may request to receive RSC by contacting the county or tribal nation in which the person permanently resides. Once a person or their chosen support requests RSC, the person will have a Min Choices assessment if it has not already occurred. Once an assessment is completed and eligibility has been determined, further collaboration with county, tribal nation, or managed care staff may occur. The person will choose an RSC case manager either with their county, tribal nation, managed care organization, or with a private RSC provider. The person should expect to begin working with an RSC case manager within 20 days of the request. Following eligibility, if the person chooses to access RSC, it is the responsibility of the Min Choices assessor to determine if the person is also receiving another form of targeted case management by reviewing the Medicaid Management Information System, or MMIS. Communication between all case managers is vital to determine how billing will work to ensure that targeted case management services are not duplicated. Once a member is discharged from an institution, Relocation Services Coordination targeted case management benefits end. If a person is on Minnesota Senior Health Options, or MSHO, or Minnesota Senior Care Plus, or MSC Plus, a care coordinator would be assigned to them. The care coordinator should be contacted to ensure non-duplication of services. The care coordinator supports the person to move out of the facility. If the person is on special needs basic care, the county or tribal nation is responsible for determining eligibility and authorization for RSC. If the person or their chosen support are unaware of who the care coordinator is, they can contact the managed care organization and they would be able to provide that information. The person, legal representative, family, nursing facility, or social worker are all able to contact the managed care organization for that information. The person's Min Choices assessor and RSC case manager are responsible to inform the person of their appeal rights. A person receiving RSC has the right to appeal a decision that denies the person is eligible for RSC case management, delays or suspends the person's access to RSC case management, reduces the amount or type of RSC case management services, or terminates or ends a person's RSC case management services prior to the 180-day limit. This section explores the role of an RSC case manager. RSC case managers direct activities designed to help a person who resides in an institution to gain access to supports and services necessary to help that person move into the community. An RSC case manager has skills in identifying and assessing a wide range of needs, knowledge of local community resources and how to use those resources for the benefit of the person, and a bachelor's degree in social work, nursing, psychology, sociology, or a closely related field, or a bachelor's degree and 1 year of experience in the delivery of social services. RSC providers consist of individuals and organizations, including county, tribal nation, and private RSC providers. All RSC providers must be contracted through a county or tribal nation, or certified through the Minnesota Department of Human Services. All RSC providers must be free from conflict of interest in providing service support and coordination. A conflict of interest is any time a case manager or provider could benefit from working with the person on their relocation planning. For example, an RSC case manager or the provider they work for also provides residential services in the geographical area the person wishes to relocate to. RSC providers must also be trained in the delivery of person-centered approaches to planning. An RSC case manager's responsibilities include, but are not limited to, developing and reviewing a relocation plan with the person, making referrals to needed services and supports, communicating with the person and their chosen support to carry out the relocation plan in the 180-day period before the person's discharge, coordinating, monitoring, and supporting overall service delivery and advocacy as needed to ensure quality of services, appropriateness, and continued need, and traveling and completing documentation necessary to develop and carry out the relocation plan. Individuals receiving RSC must have a relocation plan. An RSC case manager develops, monitors, and reviews the plan using a person-centered process. At a minimum, the service plan must identify the person and his or her legal representative, all case managers responsible for coordinating and planning services, the person's goals, the person's needs and how those needs will be met, the amount, duration, and frequency of the services, the anticipated service outcomes, and the method and frequency of monitoring the plan of care. If there are multiple case managers, the service plan must identify and attribute specific case management activities to each case manager to demonstrate their differing roles and responsibilities. People often ask what others can do to support the person's relocation. This section will help to answer that question. Similar to other forms of voluntary case management, RSC is dependent on collaboration and cooperation to support the process. To assist in the relocation process, the person can keep the RSC case manager updated on changes in their needs or preferences. Be open to discussing their hopes and wishes for housing and services. Provide accurate information about past and current housing history. Be proactive and a full participant in the process and responsive to information requests. And be willing to explore many housing options and opportunities. To support the person in their relocation, inpatient care staff should communicate and coordinate with the RSC case manager throughout the 180-day period before the person is discharged. Communication is particularly important for medical assistance, general assistance, and disability certification eligibility if necessary, confirmation and documentation of support needs and preferences, discharge planning, including necessary prescriptions, supplies, and equipment, upcoming appointments, and follow-up care that may be needed, and any changes involved in the plan of care prior to discharge, for example, rehospitalization or unexpected discharges. Family, friends, guardians, or legal representatives and others in the person's life can support the person's relocation by supporting the person in developing a plan that promotes their goals and preferences. Understanding the balance between what is important to as well as important for the person and how it relates to their plan. Recognizing the importance of experiences for the person to understand housing and support options. Assisting the person in making an informed decision. And collaborating with institutional staff and the RSC Case Manager as necessary and desired by the person. In this section, we have provided a few resources and tools to assist you in working with Relocation Service Coordination. To receive communications from DHS, sign up to receive bulletins and e-list announcements. For policy questions and general reference, check the CBSM or Community-Based Services Manual and County link. For technical assistance, contact the DSD Response Center. Lists of RSC providers can be found by accessing the DHS Certified RSC Provider List and the County and Tribal Information Directory. For more specialized resources, the Office of the Ombudsman, Disability Hub MN, Senior Linkage Line, DB101, and minhelp.info are great resources for more information. HB101.org provides tools and information on housing, planning tools to assist with creating a path toward housing independence, supports, and services. Information. Content covers a wide range of topics, including information on specific types of housing, services, and life situations. Learn about housing options, how to pay for housing, and how to get services, no matter the setting. Tools to help plan and organize a relocation. Experts. The Get Help Now feature connects users to experts who can answer questions and help plan next steps. These experts come from the Disability Hub MN, Senior Linkage Line, Veterans Linkage Line, and United Way 211. The minhelp.info search function is also used throughout HB 101 to help find specific resources in every community. Person-centered skills and tools are listed on this page for your information. The following websites are included. Person-Centered Thinking Training, which is a link to sign up for live training about person-centered concepts. The Person-Centered Practices webpage, which provides information regarding person-centered concepts. The Olmsted Plan webpage, and the Positive Supports Minnesota webpage. Some helpful brochures and forms are listed here. They include DHS Form 3182, Minnesota Healthcare Programs, DHS Form 1941, Your Appeal Rights, and DHS Form 4839E, Data Privacy Practices. Thank you so much for your time and attention to this training. If you have any questions, please email the DSD Response Center at dsd.responsecenter@state.mn.us.